Good Sunday afternoon to you. Well, it's not too sunny today, which is what I like when it is hot weather, but it is still somewhat humid, but not unbearable unless you start working. Well, for the last few days, off camera of course, I have been gaining some progress. First of all, I'm going to take you into what used to be Uncle Dorkel, the Dorkel shed. I'll have to get out of the habit of calling it the Dorkel shed because Dorkel is no longer in this shed. Alright, it looks a little different in here, doesn't it? This is a 10,000 BTU air conditioner. This is my mother-in-law's stuff, and it contained lots of light bulbs and other things which we went through. And now I had all the light bulbs that were in storage here stuck on shelves and everything except for that big box of Philips up there you can see. They're all in here, so this all contains spare incandescent light bulbs. Temporarily, I brought my planer in, power planer, my router table, the small compressor, and my grill, and so forth. Now you can see that 5,000 BTU air conditioner, a little planer here, and as you're looking at the place, it's starting to empty out pretty good. I moved some stuff around, as you can see. The Revere 85 is up there on the shelf. This is all temporary. There'll be more stuff placed on top of this, because this is going to stay here. This air conditioner is going to stay here. And if I can make enough room for my tools, my rest of my tools in the main shed, then all I have to do is just worry about this particular area here. I don't expect to have to use this whole shed for a completely for a shop. It's not going to happen. That little rocking chair my wife had when she was little is going to stay here. So there's going to be stuff that's going to stay here. This vise came from the cellar of the old house. And I wasn't going to leave it behind, although I got one here too. So you can see the table better. It's 31 inches, I'd measured it, to here, and 24 deep. Now, this heater will be placed over here, and amongst other things, that'll be brought over there, and these shelves are eventually, I got some more light bulbs here, but I can't get any more in that thing. But this lightweight stuff will be put on the plastic storage case here that I just showed you. So I can probably put some test equipment up here, which I don't have right now. When I got rid of all that stuff, it basically was vacuum tube equipment, old stuff in the 40s and 50s, the test equipment, and 60s. So I'm only going to do this on a very, very small scale. I'll probably eventually get one of them power supplies, 5 or 10 amps, maybe variable power supplies. They sell them on eBay, I guess, for, I don't know, $50 on up. I understand that some of them are pretty damn good, and they got low ripple. Get something like that, maybe a variable up to, I don't know what they are, 0 to 30 volts or something like that. I think one of my channels I'm subscribed to uses them and he likes it. So I'll probably get that. And I don't need any vacuum tube voltmeters or anything like that. We're just staying with small digital meters and stuff like that, which are good enough. But anyways, that stuff will be there. The oscilloscope will go in the corner. And let's see. So this stuff here has got to stay here. This is that big 8 or 9 foot umbrella, sun umbrella. And these are from a VAX vacuum cleaner that my wife bought shortly after we were married. There's the attachment to it. And the vacuum cleaner itself, we don't ever use it anymore. It's a lot of work, but it has a tremendous vacuum to it. And that's in the closet in the house. So I can go right up to the ceiling as long as I put lightweight stuff on this. There's bulbs in here. Plenty of bulbs. There's some fiberglass insulation, which I took out of that big cooler on wheels I showed you in the last video. That'll be used underneath the house if we need it. And this is the carpet, the indoor-outdoor carpet, well, low-pile carpet, I guess they call it, for high traffic areas. These are the pieces left over from we had our carpeting replaced there a few years ago. So I want to keep these dry in here. This is an old grill we don't use anymore. We're just going to get rid of it. This is the cooler on wheels. And the only thing that's in here now is a 50-foot and a 100-foot 12-gauge extension cords. And a base for my son's flat screen TV, which is mounted on the wall. The insulation and the carpets and everything are taken out of here. But you can see this is a good cooler. It's all fiberglass except for the top. I don't like to give that away, but I'm going to leave it outside. It's got a drain on the bottom here, see? And this is a step stool that was my mother-in-law's, but because we had to keep everything outside in the screen house, that's why it's all rusty, and I used to paint it aluminum, so I had to get that out of there. We're going to probably just, I don't know, we'll get rid of it, give it to somebody if anybody wants it locally here. You're probably wondering what I did with Uncle Dorkel. Well, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. He's right here. And these are boxes. I took that great big box I had and I put 2 small ones inside of it, and I packed I have a lot, about 20 reel-to-reel tapes, some recorded, some not, and lots of cassettes. All this came from the old house. So I sealed that up tight, because anything that gets in here gets musty. Even though it don't leak, it's musty all the time. So there's nothing much I can do about that. So, and there's my compressor. 12-gallon Husky compressor, which did not drive my air guns, air tools very well. And this is the big Rigid vacuum cleaner. So everything I've been packing away and packing stuff here out of the way. Now the only thing I got, camcorders that I got rid of. Some of them I have, some I don't. I got rid of them years ago, but I always keep the boxes. I don't really need to, but I did. Uncle Dorkel, he is speechless. He doesn't know what to say. He's probably wondering what I'm going to do with his ass and legs. Well, they're going to have to go. Now, I've got 3 toolboxes down here, and one of them sheet metal work tools, and the other 2, they come from the cellar of the old house where my workshop was. They came from the cellar. I brought those over, and they're under here, and there's a plywood here, and then my electrical box. But on this side, as you can see, I shoved everything over to this side. I'm going to sell one of these table saws. And this has been a good saw to me. I've got the dado blade. It's right up there. Dado blade for the Craftsman 8-inch dado set right there. Got the miter gauge. It fits in nice and tight because it's made for it. But if I get rid of this one, I don't do dado and stuff anymore anyways. I like this one because it's 10-inch. The Craftsman's 8. The only thing is I'll have to jury rig some kind of a miter gauge for it. You can see if you look in there, and I got the measurements somewhere around, it's got a groove in there, wider at the bottom and narrower at the top, so that when you slide out the miter gauge, it doesn't fall out. But it's a special size. This one fits in, but it's a straight square piece of, well, rectangle stock. In other words, it doesn't have the flanges on it to prevent it from doing this. and it's a little bit narrow. See the play in there? So that goes with this. So I'll probably sell that, and if I do, I may have a yard sale for that. Also, I've been passing the word around about my Craftsman's, about 12 or 13 years old, at least as far as I can recall. I got a video on it, and I've got that, and a welding mask, and the shield thing that you hold up on your face in there, and a brand new unopened 30 flux core wire. This is a flux core welder, and I'm passing the word around with that. I want to get $50 for it. That's American made. That's not this Chinese Harbor Freight stuff. This is American made, and I know you can get them for about $100 at Harbor Freight. So I'll negotiate the $50 price, come down a little bit on it, but I'm going to try. I've been passing the word around about that, and I probably will sell the taller of the two table saws. This is a Delta 10-inch. I'd rather keep this. The only thing wrong with the Craftsman is down here. I had to put a pulley on this and literally turn it like a radio dial. That's the only thing wrong with that. It works. So if you want to, I think this is the raise the blade, as I recall. It's been so long since I used it. But 1975, maybe even older than that. But if you look on the Delta has a crank on it, and I like it a lot better. And it's a 10-inch saw. The only thing I gotta get is a damn miter gauge. Now, on this, somebody made that, but on the Craftsman, this is the rip fence for the Craftsman. You got a dial here, you got a knob, you tighten it up. See? And it just sits in there. That's all. But I still got a long way to go, as you can plainly see. I may have a yard sale on the table saw. My very first generator, a Generac S1500, which is actually 1200 watts continuous. Not very well regulated. You got to set the speed for 3600 RPM. Has a crude regulator on it. It works. We used it at Hurricane Hurricane Gloria, so 1985. So I had that. I bought that in the early 80s, and it kept our refrigerator going. So I really should sell that. I don't know what I can get. Anything I can sell, I'll make a few bucks, and I'll be able to buy some test equipment. This one here is the one I used before the Champion, and this works very well. I haven't used it in a few years, and that served us good. The only thing, when refrigerator kicks in, there's a surge that knocked out the power supply in my son's computer when it kicked in and then let go. You know, the voltage went way up. Over here is the wife's side for Christmas decorations and everything. This is an old broken case that my wife didn't want, and I got all my cabling in here, RG6 cable, that was hanging up in the back here. And what I had done on this cabinet here is I cleaned stuff out and donated a lot of stuff that I don't use anymore. And I put in stuff that I don't use all that often. But if I have to get in there, all I got to do is move this guy and a few things, and I'll be able to get there. These buckets are eventually going to be organized so I can stack them. I won't be using the compressor all that much, but I can at least get into my drawers here. The first two top drawers are the most important. The other things got a couple little items in them. All right, so like I say, I'm just starting on this. I've been working on it every day since I made that video, the first one about this, procrastinating. So I am getting somewhere, but there is still more work to be done. So I'm getting somewhere, folks. This is the chair here that I'll be using. Now, if you look down at the bottom on the underside of that air conditioner, you'll see what looks like 3 pieces of plywood. Well, that is 3 pieces of plywood. 1/2 inch on top and 2 3/4 inch pieces on the bottom. They're 4 feet long and 24 inches wide. They are leftovers that when I used to get good bargain wood at Home Depot. You can't get it anymore now. So when I built this thing, I got a lot of cheap wood. So I have to take that out. That'll drop that table down a little bit, and that chair should work quite well at the height I'm going to have it. That's, I think, 30 or 31 inches from the floor up. So I'll probably take and stick those pieces of plywood up against the wall. I want to keep them dry. I don't want to keep them outside because they'll delaminate. And there's no room under the shed for them. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Did you know that when your face blushes, the lining in your stomach also blushes? But nobody can see it.